All right, so let's go ahead and get right to the breakdown. So Dgaz is up over 10%, almost 11% on the day. And one of the things that I wanted to answer is this question that we've been getting so often, and looking at Dgaz on the 180-day chart, because Dgaz, which is the inverse ETN for natural gas, is super overbought. So again, I'm a big trader off of technicals. So therefore, looking out off of previous patterns, we can see that it almost gets rejected almost every single time for the past 180 days, that it doesn't hold above 180 for a very long period of time. One of the things that I want to remind you is that patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to. I do want to make very quick observations. And yes, I do agree. Dgaz is overbought. Yes, Dgaz does normally get rejected at 380. Yes, looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, it is overextended. One of the things that I want to remind you is that just because something is overbought doesn't mean that it has to pull back. And I actually want to quote one of our Learn Plan Profit members. His name is Tyler L. And what he said within the chat is, yes, I do agree with Ricky that Dgaz is overbought. This does not follow the law of physics. And what I mean by that is that just because something went up does not mean that it has to go down, and vice versa. Just because something went down doesn't mean that it necessarily ever has to recover, right? I mean, UWT, DWT are perfect examples. Companies that go and get delisted are perfect examples of stocks that go down that never ever actually go back up. The same thing with Dgaz. So one of the things that I want to do is challenge you. I do agree. If you guys understand the correlation between natural gas, ugaz, and Dgaz, I do agree with you. Dgaz is overbought. Dgaz is overextended. But with all this market volatility, with all this inconsistency, and with all this news, would it be much of a surprise if Dgaz continues to uptrend? It wouldn't. I mean, within the time that we've been talking, Dgaz is already up another 1%. So the question is not, hey, is it a good time to buy ugaz, which is the inverse of Dgaz, and is it a good time to sell Dgaz? And more on the understanding of, if you're so certain that Dgaz is again overbought and overextended and that you think it's going to pull back, why not do yourself a favor and just simply wait for confirmation? I do agree. I think it's only a matter of time, and it only makes sense based off of previous patterns that Dgaz would eventually pull back. You know, it tends to pull back to the EMA line. It tends to pull back to the $300 price point pretty often. But just because it's done it before doesn't mean that it has to do it anytime soon. So instead of asking the question, will it? Why not then just wait for it? So all we can then do is set our alerts, follow up with it. Again, the overall idea of trend is your friend. And one of the last things that I want to share with you about ugaz and Dgaz is that these are triple leverage decaying ETFs. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't even be someone that just because, you know, ugaz on this side is very on the oversold side, that I would try to buy now and hold later. As you guys can see, for the past 180 days, this thing has been making lower lows and lower highs. It doesn't mean that ugaz can't recover. It just means that overall direction is not in your favor. And I've made this mistake so many times before, especially with the decaying ETF. This is not a normal stock. This is not something that, you know, when the market begins to recover, that natural gas has to recover, especially not this triple leverage ETN. So as someone that trades ugaz and Dgaz so often, I am here to simply remind you that it pays to be patient. Instead of trying to predict and hope for reversals, do your part as a trader and truly allow that opportunity to present itself. That simple. So when it comes down to the question, do I think that Dgaz will pull back? Yes, I think that it's only a matter of time for it to pull back. Do I think that it has to pull back anytime soon? Of course not. And that is why I am encouraging you and empowering you and testing you to set your alerts and truly challenge yourself to wait for the opportunity to present itself if you're so certain that it's going to, again, reverse. So again, those are just my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think.